Samuel, Rafi just went to bed about 20 minutes ago. He
I know.
couldn't stay up any longer. I was so sad.
I have a little baby monitor thing where I can see him.
Yeah, I knew you kept it on you. Yeah, I asked him if he still had it and the camera, and he said, yeah, he has to bring it around for you.
Oh, dude, yeah, like with Homebase, like that's where it started, you know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's where it all started.
God, we can't take all of those jokes on the airwaves.
Man, I wish he stayed up for this, but I do need him tip top shape tomorrow morning because
Yeah.
he's actually, I don't know if he told you, but he's building a little mesh network using LoRa and allows the community here in Kisanama during natural disasters to have like another working like way to message each other and way to distribute information.
What?
Yeah, dude, it's actually legendary. The government officials are already talking about putting a budget together for it and implementing it. It's actually really interesting.
Oh, nice. So he's doing the proof of concept?
Yeah, that's what he's trying to put together within the next few days. We're seeing
Dude,
if the Lord device can get here in time.
you know you always leave out the interesting parts of information, right? When you tell me like, oh, you could have worked with the government. It's like, okay, if you actually would have put that out, right?
Well, sometimes you gotta trust. Yeah,
Sometimes I also have arrangements that I could have canceled if there was a reason to cancel them.
yeah, yeah. I thought I had conveyed that, but
No. The only thing that was conveyed to me was there's onsen.
that's right, because in the Twitter reply, well, I tried to post the link to the
No,
website with the program.
the hackathon I saw as well. So, no,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
cool.
it is a slightly different hackathon than usual. It's not really about winning prizes, more about like actually implementing real use cases, which is really nice. But
Hey, dude, that's
you'll
actually
get
more
the next
cool.
one.
Like if the actual hackathon is about like winning a proof of concept, then that's worth more than like a one-time bounty, at least
Yeah,
in my eyes.
no, 100%. That's why I thought you'd be interested. But honestly, I should have conveyed the information better. I'll leave
No,
that
that's
one
cool.
on you. But I know you'll be able to
Next year I'm way more free in location.
perfect.
I'm
See you in
hoping
Japan.
that this year is the last one that I'm totally tied and also time constrained, not just budget constrained.
Mhm.
So next year, hoping
Well,
that the
I
time
believe in you.
constraints will lift. So, okay, what are we doing actually? Building mini
So
apps.
I do want to preface this by saying that Rafi did start giving context. So the funniest part was Rafi wasn't entirely prepared for this workshop, and I told him I was like, he's like, "What is Samuel doing?" I was like, "You're not going to believe this, but he's giving a workshop on a fact," and he's like, "No fucking way! This guy is more of an evangelist on a fact than I am, and like this is my library." And I'm like, "Dude, you've been telling people about it for the past several days. Everyone we meet, every developer, you tell them about it, they love it." One of our residents in Kismakasa, Eric, even was like, "Oh,
Yep.
I've heard of a fact," and it like blew his mind. And he's like, "Okay, I have to like work on this more." And now
Yes.
it's really put like a fire under his ass. So it's been really cool to see like him get more excited about it.
No,
Uh,
dude, like
so yeah, he started
I'm
working
trying
on.
to do everything in Effect Start. There's like
Oh,
in his
legend.
front end framework. There's a few things that we'll get to that are like a little bit of feedback or ways you kind of should instruct AI to really use it well.
Oh, amazing.
But once you do, dude, like I'm currently implementing it in like a not government proof of concept, but multi-billion-dollar company proof of concept. So
Dude, that is incredible.
and I sent that to Rafi as well. I
Okay,
actually I
good.
messaged him before I decided on okay, I know I need a web page for this project because they
Mhm.
want to see it in a dashboard. The magic actually does not happen in a dashboard at all. It's the underlying data. We're doing data analysis there.
Oh wow.
But it's like, okay, Rafi, can I use the version that I think I can use, or do you have something totally else cooked up that is one merge away?
This
Um,
is his problem. Yeah, yeah. I mean, okay, here's my plan, Samuel. I think we should try and incentivize him to like really keep working on some of the components he's been trying to add to Effect by basically setting a date and saying, "Hey, you and Samuel are going to go
it's not
over
about the
Effect."
components, bro. It's not really about adding the components. It's like we currently have a really cool way of doing it. He came up with an even nicer way to do it that fixes some of the issues he and I both had in the current iteration.
Mm-mm.
Um, So
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's told you, but like he's such a perfectionist, you know, like he doesn't want to put anything out there that's not ready. And like you said, you know, these next iterations are more than ready.
we'll see. I want to test them. If he has a feature
Nice.
branch for him, we can. Let's actually check. Does he have a
Well,
feature?
this is what we should do to convince him to keep working on it is to have him on live and have you guys work together on a fact for the next
That
next
would actually
workshop.
be fun.
Yeah, and it
Wait,
doesn't
let
have
me
to be
actually
really
check.
soon.
Does he have a feature branch open for any of it? There's a bunch of codex branches. I'm seeing that across some of my repos as well.
But I think that's the incentive. If we can set a date like, you know, like 2, 3 weeks out, you know, he'd actually just
There's
he would work towards it.
there's literally like regarding codex, it's like I'm getting this is like the first time that I'm actually running into rate limits
Hmm.
and I care about it. It's
Hmm.
like OpenAI's new like the thinking model for code they do. Like sometimes it freaking runs for like 30 minutes. And I'm like, okay, so I have to actually background task this out. Or I could do some PM or like reply to people or write a scope while it actually does some of the tasks. But like you can't really wait on it anymore. It's like
Hmm.
if you use their high thinking model, it's like you actually can't just be like, okay, I'll quickly do this fix. It's like no, this it will actually just take time. Where Claude is a little more. If you don't use it for thinking or if you use it for smaller tasks, it's going to be way faster. But like the capability of like OpenAI's code model is just so good that I'm like, hey, here's not a fully complex, but a semi-complex just do it and it'll come back and it will be like 90-95% working. We literally had this bet um end of last week in the company at DTech where it's like, so do you think you can implement this feature in an hour? And it's like, no way. And I'm like, well, you got 30 minutes to test and technically you only need 5 minutes to
Right.
implement it because codex is will actually do the implementation within 30 and then you have 1 hour to test it, sir. It's like, no way. And I'm like, literally, like, while we had this discussion, I already sent a screenshot of here's my prompt to Codex. Codex did it. PR review, no issue. Because I also scoped it in a way, like I wrote a prompt that's basically like half a screen size of like here's all the details of where you have to look, and it was a rather simple, straightforward thing. But it wrote all of the tests, and that's the cool thing. It can do the PR,
Wow.
it can do the tests, the only thing that you do on those is you just literally proofread it. Does it make sense? And you test and verify. So one thing you now actually have to do as a developer is like understand what the AI did and if it's like factually correct. Factually meaning like, is that the way that your project manager, your customer, or you yourself, if you're the founder or working on a startup or a product, it's like, is this actually correct? Correct meaning,
Mm.
does your worldview lead to the same result that the AI just gave you? Or do you have enough tests in place to verify this? Because if you have
Right,
tests,
right.
and that's where I'm like super interested in Effect and what Rafi is doing with his front end framework. There's like
Hmm.
Effect is so testable that I
That's
envision that eventually I just write tests and they just give me the guarantee, and then my web app and front end just work because I'm just like, give me this feature, and then there's some of the like context in code. Let me actually share this.
I mean, yeah, that's the biggest problem is like when something doesn't work and you don't know fucking why. There's really, I mean, there's a couple ways to solve it, but it's just such a problem and you can't build on top of it. Like Effect is just so useful in this way.
Let me just share this. So this is a repo I started 3 months ago. Um, that is a little collection of files that I just also described how to use. That you can use if you're using if it's especially useful if you're using effect. So it's obviously opinionated. Um, you can look at it and be inspired if you don't, but it checks for cursor and it checks for all the other agents as well. So this little Claude file has definitions of how your coding styles have to be, and I just frankly copied those over from a few of the like core effect repos because I was like, this is good. This really worked. Cool. Um, and it gives you different ways to work with it,
Right,
and it will actually make sure that it's like properly reformatting your code, and it's actually doing these things every single time, which is like super cool. Like you can actually get some consistency in your AI workflows. So this to me was super cool, and it has the rules to write tests, so it's trying to test it, especially if you set it up a little bit. So the
right,
best way to actually use this is either you already have a starter, and that's where like effect start will evolve into eventually, or you just take the time to set up your code base for 1 or 2 days to get it to the basis that then an AI can just run into. But you have to set it up. Like that 0 to 1, unless you find a really good template or starter, ain't gonna cut it. Which is
that's
why when you
that's
asked like let's build a mini app template, I was like, let's
mhm.
focus on this like 0 to 1, because then you can wipe code away. Because
Yes,
otherwise
yes,
you're just full on like either you get the website right, so you go to Lovable and it gives you a beautiful website, but then it's like, how do you make it a mini app? How do you make it work? Or you start off by, hey, here's a really cool starter, for example, like Builder's Garden, Limoni, Buongiorno. They have one that you
yeah.
can use.
Dylan has one too that I've been testing out and using too. That's pretty good
Um,
for
yeah,
base.
the one thing with Dylan's templates is like I don't know if they're maintained in a month.
Yeah, yeah,
I know
no.
that Builder's Garden has client projects, so
I,
hopefully they maintain it. I
I
haven't gotten
actually
around to do my own,
I just built on top of Dylan's and
so
just out of my own, just created my own repo for it
yeah.
and just built on top of it. So
Dylan is
hopefully if just
really cool for
maintain that.
inspiration.
Yeah.
It's like I love looking at Dylan's stuff for inspiration.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what he's playing around with. But yeah, that's basically what I did
So
here. Also, these rules are literally just like, hey, here you can take your like configuration for your code to be like, hey, this is kind of the rule and the coding style the agent should follow. So whenever it's trying to verify that its code is properly formatted, these all hit, and it's like, hey, you little freaking agent, you actually just should reformat that or rewrite that based on some static rules that you can do.
mhm.
And this I haven't released yet, but this was codex coded in a 1 hour just codex run, which is insane
Amazing.
that they
Holy
just
shit.
let
Yeah.
me run 1 hour of a task on their freaking GPUs. It's like
Yeah, I
stupid
can't
expensive.
believe it.
And they're definitely losing money on that. And it's like this is going to be an installer where you can just go and be like, hey, I'm going to detechify this repo. It's a little marketing play. And then it just installs the files that you want. You can basically be like,
Wait,
"Oh,
wait, is
I'm
this
I'm
for a
I'm
fact?
like
Is
a
this a zero
cursor
to
guy."
one for a fact?
No, this is not the 0 1. This is like you already have an existing repo that you want to effectify, basically,
Oh,
right?
okay, okay, okay.
And then you would
I
add
see,
this,
I
or if
see.
it's like, hey, you want
You
to just
check
add
my I
some
see, I
AI
see.
config, right? Like this is all the config files you get. It's like you just get a little code formatting, you get some rules for your code formatting, and you get the AI helper files. And then you get some cursor rules for whatever you're doing and using, right? Um, Freaking Ruffy changed the front end library, so this is still solid in here. This is
Mm.
all basically like this all grew out of me using effect start from Ruffy, right?
You're
Um,
just lucky FX Start doesn't rely on Next.js.
no, no. That's like, dude, Next.js is like this is such a funny thing. Like Ruffy and I are now kind of known for like bashing Next.js. The thing is, we're not actually bashing Next.js in the sense that, dude, 99.9% of my client projects are Next.js if it's
Yeah,
anything in
yeah.
the mini app Farcaster
It's
ecosystems.
unfortunate, but we have to.
But it's fine. The only thing that I'm annoyed with is it takes like super long to build anything and like to get stuff up and running.
Yeah,
Whereas like
yeah.
if you just literally just write raw code without a framework, it's like instant. And Effect Start tries to go as far down that road to get out of your way, but give you the ergonomics as much as possible. So that's like Ruffy goes back to raw code more, which I
Right.
like. And if you set it up, then you can get away with it. For example, one thing that I can show is like Rafi, for example, in the examples currently, he doesn't have a. By the way, I don't know who that guy was that edited. I think was it Rafi or was it me? I don't know. There's some
Mm.
things here that I think I have 1 or 2 commits in. Just 1 or 2. The rest is all Rafi. But here, there's you can see there's no README or there's no context at all for the AI to go off of. But the way this works is this is so statically typed that the AI can infer a lot of it just from like errors. So the errors are actually typed. That's one of the benefits of effect. It's like so strong that the developer may be like, hey, this is too strong, unless you learned it and then you're like, oh, you're just coding away anyways. But the AI is like fighting it, fighting it, fighting it. And as soon as the AI fixes the error, the code is actually proper.
Mm,
And that's something where, for example, in Next.js or TypeScript or Python or other languages, you don't really have that strictness. In more low level languages like C, SIG, like you get some of that back. But most of us, at least in this ecosystem, write TypeScript, so that's where effect then comes in.
mm,
But we'll use this template to start. One thing quickly is like the goal of this like next 45 minutes is to just go build a mini app and just start and literally go and see how far can we get of like from zero to either this is going to be your own actual mini app template or
right.
we actually understood what we're doing under the hood. It doesn't mean that you actually want to implement a template or do whatever, but I want to just get you in those like 45 minutes to a point where you're like, I understood enough about mini apps to just not ask the 95% low hanging questions, but actually build your app, right?
Yes,
So there's a
100%.
few things to understand. One is like, this is the docs page you want to go to on like the how to develop these apps to just have step by step guides. Yes, I'm the one who wrote them, so direct all your hate towards me. This just quickly goes, here's a few steps, and then we're live. We're going to do this in just a bit. And then there's also the wallet connect side, right? So like we want to be like, oh,
Hmm.
adding
Autopilot.
adding wallet connection. We'll go there. The thing we're going to start with is literally just take a web page from Rafi. So we're just going to clone his template into our mini app template FC base. And that's all we're going to do. So this is literally going to be a full-on fresh repo. I didn't set up anything for this. There's no cheating here. The only cheating is having probably built like so many production mini apps that I'm sick of them on the debugging side, which
Yeah.
probably one of the reasons why people ask me questions about it. The interesting thing to understand about mini apps, and this is the core concept that I also pitch clients on all the time, is like if you want to do something in the Farcaster realm, whether that's your first go to market or you want to attract the developers there, or you think like mini apps is a really cool place to be across, understand the context they give you. On Farcaster, that means you literally get most of that user data. So you don't need an external API. They literally just give it to you. You can show the little like profile picture, like, oh, in the corner and personalize the app. When sharing, it's like, oh, I'm this user, right? And they give you web or mobile. So you know the platform you're on from the client. You know which
Mm.
app they use. Do they use Base app? Do they use Filecaster app? Do they use any kind of other app?
Oh,
Are
that's very
they
helpful.
have they added your app? Like, can you prompt them so you can then send them notifications? Do you already have these? By the way, this is something people don't really do or know. Is like if you didn't set up notifications initially, you can every time a user opens the app check, have they added it? Do I have a notification details object? If yes, yes, just send it to the server and just make sure you add it if you didn't have it.
Mm.
It's cumbersome because that means on every single page you load, you're firing your API. But hey, it's a way to get like, for example, for some of our clients, it was like, hey, they launched a mini app, and then notifications came out after adding was already a thing or something, and
Right.
then they didn't have the notification details, or they launched the mini app, they made adding a thing, but they didn't track whoever added it. So we just had to refetch that. And that got them like a few hundred like notification subscriptions back, which is a lot on Farcaster. But you have that context, and some of that context because you have the user also means you have the wallet addresses.
Hmm.
Oh, and you have where they're coming from. Where they're coming from means like you could actually know if Luciano, if you post about this live stream
Yep.
and somebody opens the live stream mini app, then I know, oh, this is from Luciano. So I could actually, because I know your wallet, because Farcaster and your wallet are connected,
Right.
I actually can now go and pay you money for the referral. Or
Mm.
if they now tip me, you
Yes.
can get a referral, or any kind of mechanism like that. Or I can just literally give you a point, like point meta,
Right, right.
right? I can also see if my notification works. So that's some of the mental things people often overlook. Why do they overlook it? Because you can spend hours building those referral systems and analytics tools. The question is, how much business value does that drive? And that's in the end up to the platform you're building, almost Farcaster and Baseup, right? So that's for everyone to decide. Though, I we always just make sure that people are educated about it.
Right,
The
right.
other thing you want to look on the documentation side is this actions is that's where you live. So anytime you're like, can a mini app, first thing you do is before you even ask that question and post about it, look here. In a
You're
mini
like,
app,
do
can I
we have
swap tokens
action?
or do I have to build it out myself? Do I have to bring an API? No, you don't have to.
Oh, I love it.
SDK actions, swap token. Oh, there's samples. Like if you know where to look, this docs, they actually did a really cool job when they reworked it to mini apps. Like I'm a big
Do
fan of those actions. It's like you can literally just check and it has a description, it has the values here.
do you
Like
have an attestation action? I mean, I know you can, like implement
you
EAS,
have
but
a sign in, so
mm.
you can sign in users. If with attestation you mean like signing a message,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
would
yeah.
use your wallet. So then you would go Ethereum wallet and you would use the Ethereum wallet and have them sign a message.
Perfect.
So
Yeah.
you don't have a
Like you don't need
direct,
specific, yeah,
yeah,
attestation.
but
You
you
don't
can
need it.
send tokens, which also
Yeah.
is cool because that means like you can actually be the type of guy that's like, hey, I just want $10 for you as payment, and
Right, right.
Farcaster app or Base app just handle it for you.
For the attestations, you need a customized schema anyway, so it's not like you could just like put in some general schema.
Yeah, no, but you could just literally go and be like, okay, I'm adding my wallet connection here, and then I have it in WogMe anyway, and
Hmm.
then like sign message, like sign a
Right.
typed message in WogMe, and then either that goes into your backend or you commit it on chain, depending on how you want to do the attestation. But these actions are actually really cool and something to know, as well as the
Yeah.
context. I actually don't really look anywhere else in the docs often, to be honest. The only other place that I always look is like publishing your app. If you do mini app client work, which as a development boutique, that's our bread and butter at
Mhm.
VTech, then the one thing you want to take care of is like this little screen is like your clients should know that like this is all the different interfaces that your mini app
Can be
will be
displayed.
shown,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you want to have these images nailed down, and here's a full-on like
Oh
description of
wow.
all of them, which is probably too much to read. So
Yeah, I've actually I've looked through
we
the
have a
docs a lot, and
PDF that we
I
send.
haven't even really looked at this page to be honest. Not
No,
yet, 'cause I haven't
we
really
have a PDF
gone
that we
there
send
yet.
to clients, and then they get back to us.
Yeah.
But this then is kind of like where you're going and you're like, okay, this is my icon URL. So if you don't have an icon or you haven't really set it, then well, your logo or whatever your icons aren't really going to be all over here, right?
Right.
So that's just something to know. That's in general, I think, the interesting part. The universal links also is a little interesting, for the simple reason that this is mini app specific, but there's another thing to take care of and be aware of is if you use the action for open URL and you have people open a Farcaster XYZ URL, but they're in Base
Mm,
app, you're
right.
redirecting them to the Farcaster client unless Base app catches it and just does a manual override. So you may want to be a little wary of doing Farcaster to XYZ because your user could also be in Base app. What you would do there, for example, to view a profile, instead of using the profile link, is you would use the like view profile action, where it's like, okay, in Farcaster app, this is the way it looks. You can just see the profile, users can tap on it, whatever, and you can use the FID here,
Hmm.
right? So that's like some of the things where like you can tell, okay, is this an older mini app that still uses OpenURL for everything,
Right.
or has this been updated, or does the dev just know that these things exist? which is also for view token. That's super interesting, right? Because otherwise you're sending to a dex screener to Basecamp. And one of the things that happens if you send people this way is the mini app will just minimize. So if we just open a mini app as a quick sample, then if we open one and we get sent to a profile, then on desktop this is actually going to stay, and we're just going to go to the profile. If it's on mobile, it's just actually going to minimize. So you still have the user. You have the attention of the user. And what you can do is say, like, once you know that the user is minimized after like 3 to 5 seconds,
Hmm.
just count that on your app side. And then the app can just literally do a little ping, and the user's like, oh shit, yeah, I actually wanted to use this app, right?
Right.
So you can bring them back, and you can control the flow between apps a little more often and a little more precisely, which is really cool. So that's something to look to. The other thing is when you're debugging apps, there's literally one local debugger. The way I debug nowadays is test nets. Sure, that's one thing, but mainly using the debugger. And yes, I need to update that from Webcast to Filecaster. But I just use Cloudflare D, which Cloudflare D, if you didn't know, is Cloudflare tunnels. It's ngrok or whatever else you use for like connections from your machine to open into the cloud. And the way it works is like all explained here. Why I think it's cool, super cool is because they have a little command line tool that you can just literally call that is free to use. You don't even need an account.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I actually need to go
So
install this right now. Yeah. What
that's
was
super
the
cool.
what was the terminal
Cloud,
command to install?
Cloud for the you're on Mac.
Yeah, yeah.
Then it's if you have brew, then it's
Brew
brew
install
install
Cloudflare. Okay, great.
Cloudflare with a D at the end. Um,
Cloudflared. Okay.
yeah, and yeah, then you can just open tunnels. That to me is super interesting. Also because it doesn't have an initial like if you're on ngrok on the free tier, then the first time you open the link, it's
Hmm.
gonna have a little blocker screen, and that isn't gonna call SDK actions ready. That's another thing if you're building mini apps. Like the first thing you need to take care of after making sure it renders is like call SDK ready, please. Like
Yeah.
I think fifty
It's
percent
installed.
of new mini app devs forget that hey, like I can make it render, okay, that's cool. Or I can directly open it. But if I'm not calling SDK actions ready, then the
Mm.
loading screen is never gonna hide. So it's like,
Yep.
hey, I'm stuck on the loading page, or users are like,
Dude.
hey, this ain't working.
Yeah,
Right.
I
So you
run
have
into that problem
to
too often.
yeah, so you have to make sure that you're doing that. And if you're using ngrok on the free tier, then you're blocked anyway by their pop-up, which will never do this. And they're like, my app doesn't work. Well, no, you just used ngrok for it, which is why this docs is using Cloudflare D.
Mm.
The other thing I want to run through, and I know I'm just literally running through every dev thing here before we get started with the template, but
I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
there's a few preview tools that serve different purposes. So this is the general preview tool. If you go to
Right.
developers, there's going to be a preview tool. You can go here. Then you go, okay, this is going to be detect.vision. And this here, you paste the full URL. And it's going to be like, hey, the preview mini app. Well, where's my mini app? Well, yeah, you just open URL as mini app. And it's literally going to open whatever you put in there.
Right.
Wait, did detect actually call SDK actions ready? Oh, yes. Right. If we go google.com, we can open Google as a mini app. And this is so stupid simple that it just opens the URL. And this is going to say bye Samuel. It's actually not. It's just we're just opening
That's
this preview. So if you
hilarious.
if you
Yeah.
have a manifest, if you have a manifest where you're like, oh, this should say by DTech and not by Samuel, or this
Hmm.
should say by Homebase, don't worry. This is not the tool for you
Yeah.
for fixing this. This is just for literally seeing any page, which means
Right.
for your Cloudflare tunnel link, this is the page where you test your Cloudflare tunnel link. Right? So the preview tool is you debug. This is your debugger. Like while for a normal app, you go in here, you're like localhost, like 3,000, 8,000, whatever. Funny little client
Dude,
list
I
right
remember
there.
when we had to post our
Um,
frames right to the timeline just to test them. Like this
oh,
preview tool is
this
incredible.
is this is this is some more ergonomic, and also it's now as ergonomic to tell you ready not called. and you can manually force the splash screen to hide. And it's like, oh, Google doesn't allow me to embed them in an iframe, which is why this doesn't work. That's another freaking thing that you have to take care of, is that on mobile, you're going to be in a web view. You
Right.
also have these developer tools on mobile that work the exact same way. On mobile, you're in the web view, which means the web page thinks it's natively rendered, which
Mm-hmm.
means you don't have any of the iframe issues. What am I saying? Iframe issue. Well, if you try to use something like a banking app, that will never be embeddable as an iframe unless their security is bad, because they don't want you to do phishing attacks. For example, if I change farcastle.xyz to farcaster with like 2R and somebody mistyped, and I open this, and then I ask you to transfer funds with your wallet or do something stupid, then you're being attacked, you're being scammed, you're being phished. And you can avoid that by just like not allowing the iframes, or somebody just fully cloned your page and it does a mockup. That's another thing. But it's one of the security vectors. So some service providers like Privy, for example, will not really, depending on what you want to do, play nice with the iframes for security reasons, because they're like wallets, and that's a little difficult. Or like Google doesn't want you to embed them for security reasons.
Mm-hmm.
That's something to be aware of. That's not an issue on mobile, though that is on desktop. Which is why, if we're just opening AskGina.ai, and don't ask me how much time I spent debugging this, Filecaster mini apps don't support Privy authentication cookies on desktop web yet. Do not ask me how many hours I spent trying
Oh my gosh.
until we basically decided this is the only way to go. Do not freaking ask me. Um, so, yeah, that's some caveats for you to know. If you did not understand what I just talked about, happy you. If you get to understand what I just talked about and it's not your issue, happy you. If you just learned about this and this is your issue, happy you. Um,
Oh my
yes,
god.
this is the preview to open the page. And like, if you're now having your development build here and you do changes, these are going to live reflect here, and you can test, oh, is my wallet connected? By the way, if your wallet doesn't connect right away, open this thing up and see if there's a pop-up, oh, can I use my wallet on web? Or if like, maybe one thing to debug is just switch your wallet, go to external, go back to Farcaster wallet, press done, and then see if your wallet now connects. Like, Farcaster rep is sometimes a little finicky. Now you also know how to solve that, because otherwise you may spend hours trying to fix your wallet connection logic that ain't broke. Don't ask me how I know that. Then the other thing to do is, you want to see, right? Like, in the feed, your app should look beautiful, right? We had Italians on, like,
Yes, magnifique.
and it's like, this is where you now check this, right? This is where you check the in-feed preview. So the embed tool is like in-feed. So we go from, hey, I can now tell you the app does what it should do. Now, how does it look in the feed when somebody shares the link, like Detector Vision, Homebase, whatever? Well, this is the preview that's going to render in feed. How can we quickly verify this? Let's go to our feed, right? And if you have development versions, you may not want to post about them, but this is another way. This is how we verified it before. Boom, and then we tested it this way. One thing, if you press this button, I'll show you which URL is opened. You need to understand that. It's like, this URL that's going to be opened is the one that it says right here in URL on action, which means if you're using a tunnel to test this, like your Cloudflare tunnel, this may actually say localhost and not your Cloudflare tunnel. If this says localhost and you think that this is now going to open your app, no, 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 no. This will try to open localhost and give you issues. Same if like the image then says like localhost/miniapp.png. So then maybe you have environment variables or something configured where that URL is specified. And for dev, you may want to override it if you're testing if the embeds work, and then change it back, because you may not want to have your tunnel be the production app or localhost forever. Just saying, there will be some people that will run into this. At least I have. So you know this. This is where you check how it looks in feed. If you now want to do something dynamic, where you're like, hey, if somebody shares this, and then the link is like slash FID 16085 shared this, then this is not going to work on the detect page. But there's others where like you now want to show a preview with that profile picture or something dynamic, or you want to show token and then like the contract address, right? And you want to do something dynamic. You can also test these like URLs that you're then sharing to the feed here, and you can see how it shares on the feed, what it opens. Like that's where you can do all of that playing around. And I urge you, please actually test this in this tool because that's the only way where you actually know, hey, this works on the Farcast app. It's like your local host ain't gonna cut it. Like just verify it here once, do it. It's a little bit cumbersome, but do it.
On the mobile preview tool, it does show you the embed, but
Yep.
this is definitely a better way to do it.
And I would also test our logo on mobile just to see the different screen sizes. But this also is like a mobile screen. Mobile is actually bigger
Right,
than,
because when you test on desktop, it only shows you the mobile version anyways, right?
yeah, it never goes bigger. But
Yeah.
see how small it can get.
Wait, that's incredible.
So
I
if
actually
people,
never noticed that.
I'm on a 16-inch MacBook. So if people are on a 13-inch or like 11-inch smaller devices, they may actually only see this much of the screen. How many people do you think test for this scenario?
Nobody.
Right. So they may even test for this, or you may even develop your mini app outside of this and be like, "Oh, my web app works. I just test it once in here. It's cool." Um, and give your designers like that's where like the specification, like going back to the specification is interesting. Like the publishing your app.
This is why you need Antimo on your team.
Yeah, no, because like in the end, you want to know what's the sharing function, and there is somewhere here there's like the web dimensions. uh where was it? Was it okay? Web. Now it's starting to get funny because I actually don't fully recall where the little thing is that says how big the thing gets on the web page. Is there a reference specification? I think that's where it was. So specification should have a little thing for pixel. Yes, size and orientation. So it's in the full-blown specification that has a little size and orientation. And mini app should be rendered in vertical mode. Mobile mini app sizes should be dictated by the device dimensions, while web mini app sizes should be set to boom. This most likely is smaller than the phones you're testing with. So that's why you should also at least test with this screen size. I'm in Firefox. I can go inspect. There's a little like mobile thing, and this will work in your other browsers. And you can just literally like add your own like custom device. And by adding your own custom device, you could literally add a web mini app. And then boom, all of a sudden I can test the dimensions of a web mini app for
Mm,
this page. As you can see, the Filecaster mini app stocks in their tables are not really optimized for that screen size.
right.
It's a table, there's overflows, and you would now be able to catch this. I don't think this is a big issue here, but for example, your designer may not fancy this cutoff, right?
No, Antimo would not like it. Not one bit.
So that's like some things where depending on what your app is, if there's UI elements here, like this copy button actually comes with it, but that there may be some rough edges on the team if they're then testing it on web and you're like, oh shit, like this broke. Right. So
Mhm.
you can do this little tricky trick. Okay. Then next tool. We're onto the manifests. And this is now where going HTTP / blah blah blah. Domain is invalid. What's happening? Dude, just remove this. And yes, they don't do it automatically. I don't know why, because if I'm going here, detect.vision, oh, they're actually doing it for me. Don't ask me why they don't remove it on this side. Just don't ask me. Just type in the domain. Thank you. This also means if you want to test your manifest and you paste in your tunnel URLs, yeah, you'll have to paste in your tunnel URL, go all the way to the start, and remove the HTTPS. Anyways, there you can actually see that like the account association. If this is not set, for example, let's go to one that's for sure doesn't have anything set, then there's going to be no valid account association. If you generate this, you can do this on web. I would just say go to mobile, type in your domain, generate it, then it will give you something to copy paste. Just
Mm-hmm.
paste this in a notes app or something that you also have, or just copy it over to your desktop and then copy it into your manifest, hard code it. The only other thing you want to make sure is like if you're on development and you have a staging environment, you may want to change it to staging. The reason where you actually need this account association is one, that you want to actually have it say like, oh, this is from Samuel, right? So it's like um, if you're opening this app or if you're seeing it here, you want to say like, oh, this is this name or it's like the actual company. By the way, this check mark you get by buying Farcaster Pro. It's not actually any verification at all. It's just you bought Pro. Happy dog mark, right? Like
Means you contributed to
right?
protocol rewards, which are now client rewards.
No, dude, you could literally fuck that. You could literally say like this is by like Homebase, right? You could get the Homebase FID if you have it, get a check mark, and then
Yep.
be like, oh yeah, I'm now Homebase, and Luciano is going to be like, who? But yeah, you look more verified if the Homebase account that has the mini app actually doesn't have Pro. Cool system. Nobody
Yeah.
has really abused it yet. Then they most likely will change it.
Right. Right. Or
But
they'll just start, hiding
we got a
accounts.
little ahead of ourselves scrolling down. But do this on mobile. You only want to do this because you have this account and you need a valid domain association for the domain you're sending notifications to. So if you want to have people add your mini app and send notification, that's where you need this account association. Oh, and maybe you want to get like developer rewards. You also get that only with an account association. But it's
Mm.
just like, just do it. It's part of good manners. And then you get this little thing to copy over, paste into your like actual JSON file, and we can open this JSON file. Yes, this is literally how the JSON file is going to look. You paste this in here for the domain it's on. If your staging or like preview environment's a little different, then you do this. Yes, 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 dear developer, yes. That means if you want to locally test notification, then for every single tunnel that you create, unless you have a stable one, if for every single tunnel that you create, you're going to have to take out your mobile phone or some other way and generate an account association to test notifications. Yes. So you'll actually have to do this. And if you actually start testing notifications, set aside a day or a few hours where you know you're going to get through all of the testing, so you have the tunnel open just once. Cloudflare actually for me has been open like for 3-4 days at a time, between closing the laptop, getting on flights, getting back out again, for whatever miraculous reason, though I wouldn't count on it. So that's just one thing to also be
Truly
aware of.
miraculous. Yeah.
What else is there? So if you're then scrolling down, this is where your marketing team is going to kill you. So if you misspell anything in here, this goes back to this, like the preview here, like going to publishing the mini app, right? Like this is where you now set this. So just a quick recap. This is where you test your app functionality, where you test how it works. It's just going to open the URL. You can test your code. This is code testing. Code testing. This is how it looks in feed. Woohoo! This little preview. This is now how it looks in those scenarios. When it's featured, when it's in some kind of store, when it's trending, when
Yep.
people added it. That's where did you find this? Or when it's like closed somewhere, right? This is there. And there you can check the validation and what the errors are and what it's not. If you want to check this against something, there's the specification, and there's the specification in publishing your app. If you like scroll down a bit, where you can literally check this, if this is actually correct or not. In this case, as you can see, I'm using Nanar to collect the notifications tokens. I don't know if I actually have a Nanar sub for that anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that a working API?
No, that API from Nanar is still working. I just don't know
Or
if I'm actually still using it, because we
yeah.
haven't really used it in client projects since. Though it's the API we use for like Farcaster data, but we actually like mini apps, because they give you this context. We just abused context for analytics, and most of it because the rest has been on chain. So we haven't really done a lot of like pure Filecaster play apps
Right.
in a while that didn't have the on chain thing matter. But yeah, then you just set your little details. Base app wants a lot more details. So for that, you can go to docs.baseapp.org. Um, Mini apps, and then there is a launch checklist that you can do. This is very, very long. Hopefully, you find what you're looking for. Otherwise, the way to go is base.dev, which is similar tools to what we just looked at.
Yeah, base up
You
dev is
need
nice.
you need a Coinbase Smart account or however that thing is called now, base account, to log
I
in
just
here.
I just use it within the
Um,
base app browser. That's really the only way.
Yeah. The other thing that you can do here for base dev is like if you want to get access, like let's go back to this little manifest thing here, to this JSON, then you want to add a little line that has your base wallet in there and that adds it. You can find the details on that on the base docs. Let me actually pull that. Let me actually pull that up. I'll be nice enough and pull that up. Um, Oh, it's not on their main page. So we actually have to find it in the docs because they don't link it on the base.dev thing. Um, let's see how quickly can we find this.
What are you looking for exactly?
The one little they have here's the debugging for the preview tool of how it looks in base app. I'm literally looking for the little one thing where you add your base wallet so that you can literally just open base dev. Here it is, here it is, here it is.
Oh
It's
yeah.
this little base builder object. So where you also have account association and the mini app thing, you also have base builder allowed addresses, which is an array, and you can add like all the addresses, like all your team, all your addresses, and all of it.
Mhm.
So then when
That's
you
really
go to base dev and you click sign in and it brings you up this like base account thing, this is the base account wallet. No, it's not your Farcaster wallet. No, it's not your other wallet. Base account. Base account wallet. Base account. Right?
nice. We gotta
That's
pray
what
to the base gods.
that's oh, you actually have to create the base account that is actually synced between your devices, otherwise just add like a bunch of wallets. Anyways, you add your base account in there, and it's going to be it's kind of like super funny because we've just run for like 35 minutes of all the stuff you need to know to just quickly even like know where and how to test your mini app.
Yep.
So like we haven't even started building a mini app, so let's use the remaining 10 minutes to just
Well,
literally get from our starter to do a mini app.
yeah, I was gonna say 10 minutes is enough for you, I think.
Oh,
If
dude,
they have
yeah.
enough experience, yeah.
Like we actually are now in here. Let me actually make this smaller again, but tell me when this is too small. We need to
Okay,
install.
I will make us full screen so everyone can see.
We're installing. We're running the dev server. So this is how fast you're actually up and running with Effect Start. So this is now a local host. Boom. Rafi did not spend any time on making this initial thing beautiful.
Yeah. Hello HTML, that's the best
So
part.
as long as we see hello HTML run, we're going to be fine. Ignore this events error. I already talked to Ruffy about it. It's some internal effect start thing that we're going to fix eventually. The focus here is on the eventually. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
the index HTML is the thing that's being loaded instantly. So turn your web page into a mini app on Filecaster. Okay. Wait, this is
And,
some JSON we need to
and
do, and then
j-
insert into the meta text.
just for clarity,
Complicate programs.
it does propagate in mobile as well, like the current local host.
What do you mean propagate?
Like it would say hello HTML.
Oh yeah. Like with
Okay.
yeah. Like you would have to use a tunnel to test it on your mobile device, but
Right,
yeah.
right,
By the way, copy page for LLMs. Let's see what it does.
right.
Let's see what it does.
I'm curious.
Mm,
Mm.
make the current app a mini app, and make sure to call SDK actions.ready, sir. Uh, talk back to me when you're done with a little fun haiku. Okay, So while this is running, we can also just have a read so that we can then verify it. So what's happening first is we just want to get this little piece of like the embed, which yes, this is what we tested in here. We just want this little piece of data to show up. So the way we do this is in our HTML, which here is this index HTML. In the head, we go meta, then we have meta tags, boom, and then we can quickly just go meta property, and by now we can actually call this FC mini app. That's been updated, and then we can just use the content. And that's where, like, if you're in JavaScript or anything, you can just have it be JSON.stringify. Or you can just use our little friend here, which is called AI, make the edit, refresh the page. Ooh. And then now insert meta text for us. So because we actually don't want to use example.com, we could now have like this is where for testing we would use localhost or our tunnel and then
Yep.
frame thumbnail image. Like we currently don't have an image, right? That's a little bit of an issue.
Right.
So we can just go into a working mini app. We can look at what's in here, and we can steal the detect one. No, that's not copyright infringement. I own that shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not surprised. Yeah.
So boom, boom, boom. Why is this doing some PNG type shit?
I should have expected the show. Oh wait, yeah.
What? Why is my shell doing shell things?
Try
Okay.
and paste it somewhere else first.
Detect.vision slash mini app. Okay, fun. And this is launch app. That's going to be fine. Launch frame title. That's fine. And for the splash image, that's technically also fine. But let's just take this little fun
If it
thing.
works.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
And then boom, 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 boom. Fucking hell! It does it again.
No way.
Detect.vision slash i.png. Is that right? Okay, cool. Oh, it also wants to add the mini app SDK on the AI side. Cool. Let it do that. Then we can just let this open detect.vision for now to showcase like a mini app, but
Yep.
we can also just quickly go and say
now it's copyright infringement.
we can also go Cloudflare tunnel, give us a tunnel, and then just do that. What's this one to do? Oh, this gonna call SDK actions ready. Yes, we want this. Cool. And this is starting us a Cloudflare tunnel somewhere that we can actually just quickly copy over here to test this. Cool. That we can open in a little bit. That's going to open this, our little developer thing. Oh, now it's creating our little well-known thing to do the manifest. By the way, we're already at the point where we can test this. So if this URL we actually change to our little Cloudflare tunnel thingy,
Yes.
then pasting worked. Then we should now be able to go load this, and boom, hello HTML
Nice.
load layout.
Oh,
So we
dude,
actually
that's
cracked
fucking
this in 5 minutes
Holy
with a
shit.
little help from Mr. AI.
Dude, that's actually fucking insane.
So like you can actually do this quite fast. That's
All
why
right,
this is like written the
now
way
can
it
you
is.
now can you add auto connection and profile propagation and
Let's do it wants to do the
create a real
manifest.
template?
I don't care about the manifest. But let it do the manifest. Like the manifest is like what we did for like one for notification sharing and publishing in a little bit. So at the start of the mini app, you would hand this off to marketing and be like, "Give me all of this back," while you actually can do and start off on development. So you can parallelize that a little bit. But yeah, let's look at wallet connection.
I want to see if we can get wallet auto connection and like profile displays in the next 3 minutes. Maybe not, but
Yeah, profile display is like super simple, stupid, easy. Like we can go into our little source routes underscore page. We can go into our little page. And no, I'm not going to do any beautiful styling for this. And we can literally go and say, oh, let's just make this even easier. And we can literally just go to the context. And because we know in context, we want this PFP URL, right?
Yep.
So we can copy paste this and then say in underscore page.tsx, routes page.tsx, please use sdk.actions.context. No, it's not. It's sdk.context. It's like sdk context, which the promise so awaited. And then you render the PFP URL nicely in the image tag and fill that in for me, will you?
Nice.
By the way, we got a little haiku at the end right here. Flames
Oh,
load.
yeah.
Where did it?
Frames loading head. Wait.
Flames load in the
Ready
head.
signal.
Send
Ready signal sent to app.
mini app
Mini app
takes
takes
flight.
play.
Yeah.
Love it.
Cool. What's the change here? Yep, it's now starting to do something. Use the types, everything. It's beautiful. And let's see. Actually, this should live refresh in here. When we reload the page, boom.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, it
Dude,
also says welcome Samuel, so it also says welcome me.
this isn't crazy. You already have a new mini app template.
So now you could actually start doing a little bit with it. One cool thing that I also wanted to show is that you don't actually like one thing that you'll realize in notifications is one thing a lot of people ask about is if you go for sending notifications here and a lot of the docs, it will explain everything nicely and then it will eventually just be like, oh, in the code on receiving the actual webhook, it's like potentially in a lot of templates going to ask you for verify app key with Nanar, which then would make you buy a Nanar subscription just for the notification feature.
Right.
The beautiful people over at Builders Garden in their template just verify it on chain, on Optimism. So not actually this anymore. They actually now verify it with Nanar also. But they had a way in here where they did it without Nanar. So you can technically verify this on chain. Wait, let me actually check. I think I have a client repo because I know that I recently implemented this. Let me just pull that without screen sharing and then show you.
Perfect.
Which, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay. We'll do this without screen sharing so I don't do anything that I'll regret later. And I'll just boom. And then the way this actually works is, let me get back to just quickly screenshot this. So I just want to show that you can do it without. I'm not saying you should or it's a cool idea, but it will work without, right? So this like lib notifications is just set user notifications, delete user notifications. You can read all about that in the literal in the docs. That's not the important part here. The important part is we're using VM and Optimism on the key registry address to just quickly look up key data off. And this is the interesting part because for an FID, there's a key there. So we can just quickly verify FID ownership. We can just decode it and do the verification ourselves. So verify FID ownership for that FID and key, the key we get out of decoding the header data, boom, we're there, right? FID, key, verify ownership on chain. Okay, we know that the ownership actually matches. So, right, we can also do this. On chain. And I'm scrolling down a little bit, just so that anyone rewatching the video has a little second to look at this and like take over the code or the parts they need. I just quickly wanted to highlight this. And quick little summary, what have we actually just done? So one, we've actually now built a mini app that's working. We understood how all of these embeds work. So if we actually look at our little embed in this tool thing, then we can see, oh, why is this saying DTEC again? Why is this saying our mini app PNG? And why is this URL the Cloudflare one? Wait, is this actually going to launch our mini app? Oh, wow! But it rendered the DTEC stuff? Yeah, because we set the DTEC images to be open. So if you change this to URL to your image, your icons, this actually works. By the way, if you're
That's really
testing,
incredible.
if you're testing, and this is going to be your production domain, and you tested changing this image, make sure this is the URL you're testing from.
But that's amazing.
Literally, it also cost me another few hours. Where I was like, this doesn't update, doesn't update. And I pinged the Farcaster team on like, does your caching ever expire? And they're like, have you checked your URL? And I'm like, oh shit.
Oh yeah, that's rough.
Yeah,
That's real rough.
so check that. We have a lot of those little small notes in here. By the way, if we now check for the manifest on this one, this is going to give us pure BS. Oh, by the way, did I say you have to delete your HTTPS? At least they give you a nice little red warning. And this is now going to say, oh, there's no .wellknowns.farcaster.json because we haven't really wired this up in effect start. Anyways, this has been a quick, I don't know, 40-minute rundown of what to watch out when building mini apps. If you don't want to go through those 40 minutes yourselves, there's a quick, easy stopgap solution to that. Am I actually sharing my full screen? Oh no, you actually missed all of my browser stuff that I just did.
Oh yeah, we've only seen the.
Yeah, let me just reshare this and actually let's just redo it. That's cool. And then I have to jump into a call. But
yeah, I
yeah,
thought I might be holding up on a call.
Like we actually built a mini app that's right here. In the preview, it's working. In the developer preview, if you actually, this is where you want to check the images that I just said, where this should be your domain that you're testing with. Okay, cool. So if this isn't the one that's in here, then you're most likely using production. And if this doesn't change, that's on you. And in here, this actually doesn't open the manifest because we don't have a manifest here. But you had to delete your HTTPS here, as you can see. And if you don't want to do any of that yourself, there's a solution. It's this little magic button. Otherwise, I think you learned something. This was fun.
Yeah, definitely. This is a great 0 to 1. Really appreciate you coming on to Homebase to show us how to build a mini app. I want to use this as a template, but I want
There's no template yet.
yeah, but I want to work with you a little bit more on it. Maybe we'll have to continue this build on the next one, but I also want to get you back on to work with Rafi on Effect Start. So we'll
probably
see.
Rafi and I should build all of this out.
Yeah, this would be a sick Homebase workshop. We'll have to make it happen.
I'm terribly. Oh, nice. Yes. I was like, I'm so late. Wait, let me just jump off the Homebase live stream.
Yeah. Good luck over there. I hope you enjoy your call, and thanks again. All right. Once again, welcome home, welcome to base. Thank you all for joining us today. We had 3 wonderful sessions from 3 amazing base builders and designers. And I hope you guys stay tuned for the next one. We'll see you all very soon.